my entire career was more about getting things done, and it's more important to do more things right than wrong. And this actually is a great explanation for the journey I've entered 8 years ago to be here. So, as Wolfgang said, many know me of projects like Zing and others. I'm basically a technology geek. I'm an investor, and so the question is, why no museum? So, for me, everything is always about connections. Connections between technology and humans, connections between people. Real lasting connections are really important for me. So, long before I started this project, there was a epiphany moment which came when I was 16 and visited the MoMA, the Modern Art Museum in New York. So I clicker. So this is an amazing work created by Richard Serra called The Band, and it was over man-size high steel constructions, and I really felt immersed for the first time being. I was fascinated, I was overwhelmed and completely in love with this amazing artwork. And at the same time, around 1989, this was basically the first time I was on the internet, like a few years before the World Wide Web happening. I discovered this kind of internet thing, this kind of new thing, and I started very early on. And one of the first projects was actually something which normally people don't know about me, so I'm going to reveal something. Because Wolfgang and his team said, oh, make it a bit more personal, and where are you coming from? What was like the first project you had? And this was basically this project. I didn't want to go to the normal army. I said I wanted to become the first internet soldier of the German Bundeswehr. And I had the luck and the opportunity to put the German army online. Even received a Medal of Honor for this one because I saved them so much money and created this, today we would say, very ugly 0.1 version of in the internet. So, but even then, it was always about bringing people together, creating connections through technology. Everything humanity has and created are based on connections. So now we're coming to what the UBS Digital Art Museum is going to look like. For sure, we're not just building a cathedral for bits and bytes, and you won't find my iPhone 1 to 16 or 17 I have, or my old computers I used to code on. It is something really special and something new. It is about connections between people and art. It's connections between art itself, and it's connections between Japan, where the team is coming from, and Europe. But everything is always based on technology, and I would say technology is that what today's lives change. And I created this in Hamburg, in the Hamburg Hafen City, and I would say what we're doing is not just a museum, we're building the first digital art museum in Europe, the first place and the first platform where really everything is only about digital art. We have so many museums which integrate now digital art into their programs, but this place, Hamburg, is going to be the place where it's only about digital art. So in the next video, I'll show you a bit
we are visiting
how it's going to look like.
museum is just beyond Das Digital Art Museum in Hamburg wird das größte Museum für digitale Kunst in Europa.
Besonders ist, dass die Besucher und Besucherinnen Teil des Kunstwerks sind. Dadurch wird die übliche Distanz zwischen der Kunst und dem Betrachter aufgelöst.
Mit der Hafen City hat man den idealen Ort gefunden. Im Spannungsfeld zwischen Elbphilharmonie und Elbtower fügt sich das neue Museum perfekt in den urbanen Kontext dieses neuen Stadtteils ein.
Im Digital Art Museum zeigen wir Immersivkunst vom Künstlerkollektiv TeamLab. TeamLab verschmilzt in seinen Ausstellungen die Grenzen von Digitalen und Realen und setzt dabei weltweit seit über 20 Jahren neue Maßstäbe.
Als ich zum ersten Mal die TeamLab-Ausstellung in Tokio besucht habe, war ich überwältigt. Seitdem war mir eins klar: Das möchte ich in Deutschland erlebt haben. Jetzt sind wir endlich kurz davor.
So this is a bit more than the first video, and this gives you a good impression how like artworks is, where it is. But we heard now for the few times the term TeamLab, and I would like to introduce you to the artist behind this. Founded 2001 by 5 students which connected to each other during high school and university. But TeamLab is now an art collective with over 1,100 artists. And it's just not designers, it's also engineers, architects, it's about sound designers, smell designers. It's a gigantic group of people. And for a German who likes to make things organized and clear, a Japan art collective is the complete opposite. And this is why everything takes a bit longer, but it's getting better through the work we created jointly together. And the exhibition is called Borderless. And there's no map, there's no explanations. You should come in and wander around, and this in a large space. TeamLab is definitely the pioneer of digital art. And if you ask connoisseurs or critics, everybody would say this is like the gold standard of digital art. And they're the first one, they're the biggest one, the largest one, and probably also the most creative ones. We have a lot of rooms, and as you have seen in the video, everything is interactive with you. So if you touch something, there's interaction. If there's sound, you will suddenly feel that an artwork is coming to you, and you always have to submerge and sink into this kind of digital art theater I'm creating together with it. For TeamLab, it's really important that it's not just about seeing, it's also about smelling, it's about touching, it's really multi-dimensional, and this makes this artwork probably even more immersive than others. So TeamLab is really touching all your senses, and this kind of multi-dimensional sense experience is so much different than the immersive projections like the Monet Garden or Van Gogh Museum, where it's just about reproducing not reproducing, but reflecting old art in new sizes. To give you a bit more insight about the teamwork artworks, let me switch you to a few numbers we have. So TeamLab managed to attract over 4 million people each year in the 2 museums they have in Tokyo. Over 80% are really tourists, and some of them actually travel only to TeamLab because of TeamLab. When I started moving into this kind of field of building a museum for them, I had the encounter in the Fondation Merck in south of France. I saw a team at Art Lab for the first time, and I was absolutely memorized. And then I followed them through Europe a bit, and then finally I took a plane because I heard they're building a museum, and I was probably one of the first ones who got there. So, but 4 million visitors is, I think, twice the size of the Deutsche, this Deutsche Museum here. And 4 million is also a Guinness Book breaking record of the most visited single artist museum in the world. It used to be always the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam. It's like 2.4 million, and for the first time or first year, they immediately hit like close to 4 million. And I would say that those artists are amazingly innovative in the way they're thinking, and they're always something new. It is never something you have seen somewhere. It's always something brand new, and this is what we're also showing in Hamburg. So when you remember the artwork I was first in love with, you will immediately understand that what we are now creating is much more intense, much more inspiring, and definitely more presentable in the new world. I told you I was in the Foundation Med, and I saw one artwork. It was probably some of you know Foundation Med is near Saint-Paul-de-Vence, like a gigantic art center, like 1 hour from Cannes, where people like Picasso, Monet, and others paid their rent with artworks. And out of this kind of Foundation Med evolved, and they had a presentation about the future of museums, and there was this one artwork which I'm going to show you now, where I was standing in front probably for over an hour, and for someone who has the technology background, I saw for something which is really complicated to program something like this. It is always evolving. There are no jerks, projection jerks. There's no jitter effect or something like that. It's always evolving and evolving. This artwork has a time length of around 12 minutes, and the transformation of the artwork is so subtle that I was just standing in front and said, wow, I want to follow this artwork. Isn't it beautiful? At least for me. I was standing in front and basically fell in love. And if you do something with love, money is the second problem, but not the first problem, if you really want to bring this to a new audience in Europe. In this museum, I would say everything is allowed what is not allowed in a normal museum. You should touch, you take photos, videos. It's even encouraged that you do so. And this is one of the secret sources why TeamLab has become so successful with so many visitors. They had, of course, the gigantic content creators like Madonna, J-Lo, Kim Kardashian, and others, who actually flew there as a normal visitor and bought a ticket and went in. The art collective is not so interested about who you are, or they say everybody's equal. I think the only one, and probably they won't do this ever again, they opened the museum one night for Elon Musk and his family. I think given today's circumstances, he would have to buy a ticket. And it's a museum from young to old, from adults to teenagers, to not just see art, but also play with art. This is the artwork called Stepping Stones. No worries, I was in there as well. I'm not sure if the video shows me, I was not so easy like the kids running around there, but it is definitely something where the perfection of each artwork is so detailed and so perfectly designed that you really feel like you're stepping over water, and there's sound effects if you hit something. No worries, it doesn't feel like Mario Kart in real life, but it gives you a sense that you see something which you have never seen before in your life. And when I was in the museum for the first time, there was one thing which absolutely struck me when I get out. Everybody, it doesn't matter if young or old, came out with a smile because they have seen something which is brand new and they are touched by all senses. So a bit facts about what I'm creating. It is around 6,500 square meters big. There are 20 rooms, there are over 400 projectors, not the tiny ones we have here, they're like massive 4K installations. And don't ask me about anything about prices, because every time I get a message from the construction site, it takes longer, it costs more. I always go in my Excel sheet and create the guest list for the VIP opening. This is the only thing, how can I afford mentally this kind of problems you get when you're building a completely brand new museum. And the ceiling, I'm not sure how much this is, the top is probably 8-9 meters. We have rooms which are up to 12 meters high. And if you remember the first time you were on the 10-meter swimming jump, really it feels a lot. So what we are going to want to achieve is around 700,000 visitors per year in Hamburg. Having the miniature Wunderland in Hamburg, some of you probably know, they have like 1.6 million, the new bunker has over 2 million, the Elbphilharmonie, the new Philharmonic house has over 2 million, so I think 700 should be doable, especially if we use, as TeamLab did, social media. I'm very proud of something we are building. This is the entrance. It's a gigantic media facade. It's around 36 meters long, 8 meters high. It's semi-translucent, and it's the first time when you go to the museum that you're already outside interacting with the TeamLab hardware. I hope that the rendering is as real as the reality. We're not absolutely sure. We tested some. Let's hope it looks as stunning as what we just have seen. Doing a construction, working on building and creating something so massively definitely takes a lot of passion and a lot of sweat and a lot of tears. And it's like when starting a company. You always, as an entrepreneur, have this kind of roller coaster. One day is great, the next day is, oh my God, why did I do it? And then it goes up again. It's always. And for me, it was have several companies at the same time. There's always one problem child. I can only tell you when it's open and you all come, then I'm more than delighted that it was worth it. This kind of years of dealing with authorities, dealing with people who want to sponsor this, dealing with the artists. It is really like the most nerve-wracking project in my entire life. You know, when you start an online project, it's very simple. You invest a couple of 100,000 and you know immediately if it works or not. Real estate is completely the opposite. You invest a lot of money, and then you hope it works, and you maybe get a ROI, which is in the museum probably just like zero. But it is really the opposite, and always it's maybe a mental problem of myself. jumping into things I don't know anything about. I'm not a studied art historian, I'm not a construction genius, but I say, why not? Why not creating and bringing something which I love back to Hamburg? The question is always, is this really art? And many people question this and say, this is just an attraction, it's just entertainment. But I think art always creates new art form of itself. There are always new forms and new tools how to create art. And if we look back, digital art, is it so different to Art Nouveau or street art or comic art, where they were all criticized in the first beginning? But I strongly believe that digital art is something fundamentally new, fundamentally broad, it's worldwide. Not everybody can create digital art, but some artists probably will evolve and also create record-breaking visitor numbers. As TeamLab is a pioneer of this art, there's always something new for them. Especially if you have digital projectors and computers in the background, you can create always a new intention of the artwork. So every time, and the artworks are between 20 minutes and 60 minutes, and multiplied by the rooms, 20 rooms, there's hardly any chance that you see something for the second time. If you go to Louvre, you always see Mona Lisa, she's still smiling. But here, every visit is always something new. And if you add then the gestures and the interaction of the visitors, if you add the seasons, the 4 seasons which they embodied, there's no way that you come to the Digital Art Museum to see something the same again. So better come more than once. I would say that the Digital Art Museum is going to be enriching your life in the way how you see art. And not just for Hamburg as a city, but also for Germany and hopefully for Europe. We're the first Digital Art Museum in entire Europe, the first ones who are so crazy to create something like this. And I spoke 1.5 years ago with Werner Hacke, who was the president of the Deutsches Museum. And he said, this is absolutely amazing what you're doing and bringing to Hamburg. But the only problem is, why not in Munich? So I take this, maybe there's if Hamburg works, maybe there are other cities which could be attractive for this. But please find me 6,500 square meters in a city, 8 meters, at least 10 meters high ceilings, and then we can talk. Hamburg is also not just a passion project. I'm Hamburg born. I started most of my companies in Hamburg. I started, I would say, the entire business career in Hamburg. And also, when you achieve certain things which were more successful than others, you always have also the feeling to give something back. And Hamburg had the opportunity that I was able to buy a plot, and this is why we do this in Hamburg. And I would say Hamburg is also the right place, especially if you, in Munich you have so much competition, you don't have so much competition in Hamburg when it comes to art, so Hamburg is definitely the place to be. Actually, today you can actually buy a ticket, and we sold over 10,000 tickets already. The price is 90 euros, 90 for adults, and I think 12 euros, 50 or 9 euros something for like everybody between 18 and down to 5. And if you buy today, you're definitely guaranteed to have an entry in the first months. TeamLab in Tokyo is sold out weeks in advance, and if you now travel to Japan, there's 0 chance that you get any ticket. So better plan a visit to Japan and visit TeamLab way ahead. I always say that digitalization, or everything what can be digital will be digital. And probably with the new age of AI, every process which is like manual today will be replaced by a smart AI framework. And especially if you've seen the recent developments in AI just over the last 2 weeks, it is so fascinating what's happening, and where you see that every repeated task is going to be completely enabled by an AI, and we have to think where our place is in the world. Art is definitely one of them. Even though that there's AI in this kind of art, the original thinking, the spark you have in your mind of what to create, is definitely a very human, natural skill. And coming back to what I said earlier, the companies I created, Zing, Politik Digital, Hack Forward, and others, we are always about creating connections between people. And connections now through visitors of the art and through the art itself. Thank you very much. I think well done. We have 5 minutes for questions.
Yeah.
And don't ask about the amount of money I'm spending.
Okay, my first question is now gone. I know that you have to catch your flight, but we are able to take some questions. I give the audience a chance first to ask questions. Please raise your hand. Otherwise, I will ask my question. Are there any raised hands? There's one, and the mic is coming from behind. Please keep on raising your hand. The mic will find you. Perfect.
Hi. Just a quick question. Is there already an exact date when the museum is going to open next year?
We had several dates. We even had a date, the earliest was mid of 2025. This moved to January 2026. Now I'm saying it's 2026. Probably not the first quarter, maybe the second, maybe the third. And if everything goes bad and the construction companies are not working together as I hope, then it's maybe Q4.
But definitely 26.
Yes. There's another question over there.
Hello, thank you. My question would be, the name of the museum, if I got it right, is Digital Museum for Digital Art. It's a bit of echo, but it's mainly one collective of artists that is being exhibited. So that's basically the question. It's
Is there more than art? That's the question, right?
Yeah. So it's called UBS Digital Art Museum. And since it's completely private museum, you have to find certain ways of financing it. So this is why it's called UBS, as one of the world's leading banks, and definitely the biggest bank when it comes to art and art collective and collection, and biggest sponsor of the Art Basel. They immediately took the opportunity to name the museum the UBS Digital Art Museum. The exhibit, what we present, is TNET with exhibition Borderless. But it's not just TNET. Around 90% of the museum is going to be TNET, and around 10% is open space for new upcoming digital artists from around the world. Think of Refik Anadolu, for instance, or Human 1982, I think, or Random International, as Deflin, and others. There's a whole scene now developing, and we want to showcase as much as we can.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there other questions? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Just a small question. Which part will be on the AI-based art? Like, I guess that the people are behind, but I guess that they will use AI.
They do.
Thank you.
Yes. Especially for testing certain things. They have an AI clone of the entire museum, and with the help of AI, they're developing certain things. But it's always Inoko, who's the more equal under 1,000 equal people who comes up with completely crazy new ideas AI couldn't even think of. So with the help, yes, but not in the creation process.
So, thank you very much. If we are thinking of digital art, and we are not labeling art as positive and negative, obviously, how do you think of digital-only art and how we should archive it? Because if you're thinking of an analog artwork like a painting, yeah, we have 500,000 years later still the artwork. Do you have any thoughts about digital-only archiving arts?
You remember this artwork I showed you called Life? I was able to buy it, and then it's always the question what comes. And
Was it really
the team that
stick or?
is basically collected by the leading museums in the world. They have just a small limited numbers of artworks that they're selling. So the time when I got it, I got the iMac Mini with an encrypted USB drive, which is connected to the iMac Mini. Since I grew up with opening certain security systems or finding ways how to intrude certain computers, I really tried for, I think, an entire evening to find out how they do it and if there's a way that I can copy it. But it's so clever that I was not able to do it.
And the follow-up question here from myself: how do you have it at home? Do you show it at home?
It's actually in our office space, and when people come, we turn on the computer. It shows on the display. The display is not included in the artwork, and it's not very cheap. It's 6 digits actually.
I didn't expect anything else. I could even have mentioned SM. There was another question, I think. Oh, many questions, yeah.
Thank you for your presentation and coming to our festival. And we are called Festival der Zukunft, maybe beyond art, or where art plays one role. But how do you see the Zukunft of Europe in the upcoming decade?
Whoa, that's a big question.
Yeah, well, Lars is one of the veterans. He's seen it all the ways in the last year. So I
think if we don't do massive reforms on all levels, from city to country to Europe, unfortunately we will be in a museum.
That's so
and not a digital museum.
Probably just a real-life museum where people from all around the world go to Amalfi Coast and see, oh wow, it's cool, how Europe was.
Yeah,
but I'm always like I'm an optimist, so I hope everything will get better. But it's getting harder every day.
I also would like to thank you and have a question. If there are so many people queuing up, is there a possibility to have it in the metaverse also, to have a look in, walk around and pay also for having this entrance for a day or for a lifetime? So my first question, and can we build a floating one? I would love to have something like this, since several times swimming on a lake, and perhaps there's an option to build one in Bavaria too.
Metaverse and lake versions.
Yeah. So the metaverse question was actually the first question I asked myself before I went to see the big opening of the museum in Tokyo. But it is so much more if you really can physically experience this and with all your senses, not just for your eyes, that you need this kind of location to go to. The question is, how is the artwork evolving? Today we use gigantic projectors. Maybe everything will be displayed in 10 years. I don't know. But I want to give the opportunity to experience digital art for humans and not just for computers. So metaverse, I'm actually very skeptical of metaverse. Every time I put on the headset, it doesn't matter if it's project of Apple, of Google. I tested probably everything what is out there. And it is nice and it's getting better and better every day, but you're missing the interconnection with other people. And if you just see avatars, this is so much different than seeing other people going around the physical space, touching, interacting, taking pictures. So, and I'm not sure if you can stay for so long in your AI or VR worlds. And the average visiting time, the average in Tokyo is 2.5 hours. So 2.5 hours, and I'm not sure if I want to stay 2.5 hours on average in my goggles and seeing some digital stuff.
Mm-hmm. What about the swimming version on, I don't know, the latest?
It's an interesting idea, but building something in Hamburg, I'm first of all saying thanks, this is my last building project. But this is also something I said 2 houses ago.
Yeah, so the chances is large. Just a short teaser, we give a multiplayer social VR art experience downstairs, which is 50 minutes in the Bilbao, so I think that might work for you. I think we have time for one more question. There it is.
When is your flight back to Hamburg? Because I would like to invite you to our exhibition. We are an online-only gallery called Caldo Worldwide, and we work at the intersection of art and tech.
Munich, definitely. Send me a message, Lars@Hinrichs.com. But my flight is in 10 minutes, in 1 hour and 30 minutes.
Yes.
So I'm rushing back.
Yes, Lars, thank you so much for coming to Munich despite all your travel and troubles today. You all make sure to buy your tickets now, because what we didn't tell you now is that the prices will increase after the opening. So save your spot now for the first one. And Lars, good luck. We hope to have an opening in the second quarter. That would be perfect. Thank you.